Okay, hi everybody. It's Kirk, your spiritual advisor, spiritual shaman, with another psychic weather report, spiritual update. I'm not doing this one live because the sound quality, and the visual quality is better just from the laptop, so I'll load it right into YouTube. Let's see what we got here. The psychic weather report, the spiritual shift in consciousness, the mass clearing. Last night, I wasn't able to sleep till 5 in the morning. Fell asleep, had a night terror. A bizarre dream night terror, and kind of just got up at 6, made some coffee, been up ever since. Now I'm totally wired. I'm just trying to go with the flow. I'm using all my spiritual knowledge of 30 years to, maintain and stabilize. And I just wrote this post on... let me see if I can. I just wrote this post on Facebook, and I'd like to read it to you because I want to share it with the YouTube audience. And basically, it's just talking about some spiritual things. It's called the Psychic Weather Report. This is the week of August 17th, leading up to the solar eclipse. And I don't know why, but supposedly now, September 23rd, is some spiritual vanishing point, real or imagined. I'm not sure what that means. But for the last 4 weeks, we've been in a major psychic clearing. All the way showers, the light workers, the spiritual mediums, the channelers, and the psychic readers are all saying it all over YouTube. So I invite you to investigate it yourself. You can Google timeline jump, shift in consciousness, fifth dimensional symptoms of awakening, Kundalini awakening. And I've had several clearings, and that's what this post is about on Facebook, and it's rather lengthy. But they debilitated me before, and I basically would not eat during a lot of these things. Some of them lasted for years, and I received something called the Shakti Put, unknown to me, being in the presence of Guru Mai, and I didn't know who she was. No clue who she was. I was a butler at a very high-end hotel, and there was a guy that worked with me, and he said, "Here, take this order up to the Guru lady." And I was like, "What's the Guru lady?" I would later find out that people travel from all over the world to India to see Guru Mai and just be in the same auditorium, stadium with her to get her energy. And here I am knocking on her door, bringing tea, and her brother are there. You can Google Guru Mai and her brother and see pictures of her. And I knew it was a different energy. Oh, sorry, Snuggles. Snuggles is here. I knew it was a different energy than I'd ever seen. And it's a little hard to miss the bindi dot and the orange uniform. I don't know what to call it. Orange robes that she was in. She looked at me, and I looked her right in the eyes. I didn't bow. I didn't know I was supposed to. And she looked at her brother right in the eyes, and they had a communication unspoken. Then she looked back at me. Then she looked back at her brother. And then they both nodded. And then she went to the desk, and she handed me a Hershey's bar. Now, I didn't know this at the time, but I like Hershey's bars. and I was kind of addicted to them for a while. I later found out that when the guru favors you as a blessing, they give you chocolate. It's one of the things that the guru does. It's a blessing. And I was like, instead of a tip, most people would be like, where's my tip? You know, I set the tea down, I grabbed the chocolate bar, and I was like, oh my God, thank you. Thank you. I love chocolate. Thank you so much. And I kind of bowed a little bit, you know, not like as a worshiper, but I was just like, thank you for the chocolate. I was so happy. I left, and about, I don't know, a month later, my entire life fell apart. Completely and totally fell apart. My Kundalini was opened up. I had no idea what it was. It was right before the internet really got started, and it would set off kind of like a 6-year breakthrough Kundalini crisis of clearing. And the Kundalini healing, when the goddess Mother Shakti put, which is what the guru gives out, awakens you, you begin a healing that is non-linear, and your chakras open up and they start clearing stuff, and you don't know what the hell is happening. And I didn't know what the hell was happening until the internet got to the point to where they had these Yahoo groups, and I finally started buying books and was guided along the way, books about Kundalini, talk about it, find it, and I found this group on Yahoo, Kundalini Awakening, Spiritual Crisis, and another website because I was seeing blue energy around my house all over the place. A huge blue orb, which I later found out is the medicine Buddha. Blue is the medicine Buddha. So all of this is going on, and I was in the house off and on for 6 years, and some days I would cry for hours on end. Other times I would laugh hysterically. And believe it or not, this is directly normal Kundalini symptoms. And I don't know what year this was, 90, like 93, 94, 95. What I did in order to survive it without the support, I mean, if it happened today, I would be in groups, I would be connected on YouTube, I could find videos about it. But back then, like, you really only had books and like one website. And it wasn't really an interactive website. You could read stories, and my story is actually on this one Kundalini Awakening site. In any event, what I did was I started writing and channeling poetry, and I wrote all over my walls with magic marker. And I mean every single wall in my apartment over a course of 5 years. I wrote poetry and channelings all over the walls, and when the walls were covered completely, I moved to the furniture. And you know what? I'm going to try and dig up those pictures, because I had a photographer come in here and photograph the whole thing. And then we had a rebirthing ceremony. This was in like 90, I think 95. Time, you know, is very non-linear for me at this point, but I think it was around 95. And I have photos of it, and the photos are beautiful. Think about my entire apartment, every wall, every bookcase, everything that you could write on was written on with different stuff, poetry. At the end of it, I wrote it all down. I put it in a book. I hand wrote it, and I put it in a ledger, in a journal, and I have it with the photos. So one of these days, the Museum of Modern Art is going to call me, and it'll be an art piece. But anyways, on with the current massive clearing. So, you know, you could be having a Kundalini crisis, spiritual crisis, Kundalini awakening, third eye awakening, fifth dimensional healing. Energies are coming in, and all these stale, toxic, old paradigms are being busted and leaving. I am not the only person saying this. You could go on YouTube right now and find 50 other psychics and mediums and way showers and psychic readers all saying the same thing. So I call it the Psychic Weather Report. I have a TV show every Monday where I talk about these things. I began the TV show 14 years ago to have an audience. This was about 4 years before YouTube. And, the internet, and you couldn't go live. Facebook really wasn't a thing at that point. And so I wanted to talk to other people and tell them about my life and have a live call-in TV show. And I basically just was talking about all of these things. So if you want to watch any past episodes, there's over 14 years of them scattered throughout the internet. And you might look up Guru Mai and the Chocolate Bar, although I'm going to have to remake it because it's a pretty bad video. But in any event, and I look totally different. Here's the weirdest thing. In almost every video, I look totally different. Like if you just go over to YouTube and like just randomly watch videos, you can see and watch my body and my face completely morph all the time. In any event, but I am triple Gemini, so with a Pisces rising, so there's actually 8 personalities going on here, plus an initiated shaman and a natural-born psychic medium channeler connected to the 5th dimension, if you can get all that. I'm very thankful to live in a world where I can speak to you, punch a couple of buttons, and go live with this video to a couple 100,000 people who ever may watch, and they can have identification, and I can get letters back from people saying, that happened to me too, and thank you for making these, So, I was told, or I came to believe that I was probably, I first started investigating the indigo children and the star seeds, and they say, I did a couple TV shows on the indigo children. The first indigos started coming into the planet in the 60s. So I was, I guess, one of the first wave of indigos. And you might want to read up on that for yourself as well. But it wasn't an easy road, let me tell you. Pretty much all the people that I knew or gravitated toward, most of them couldn't handle it. They came in maybe as old souls and heavyweights, and they could not take the massive clearings. And they got bogged down in alcoholism and drug addiction, and a lot of them are dead. My 5 closest friends are all passed. But, I decided to stay. I'm loyal and true, if nothing else, I've had 5 near-death experiences, and, I was just like, I don't think I'm done yet. And, I didn't have the dog yet. I didn't have Snuggles yet. Because if I would have had Snuggles, I would have said, Because I was given the choice on the last near-death experience. It was like a deathbed conversion. This council of angels and divine intelligence and infinite divine love surrounded me and just said, do you want to go home now? And I said, so they gave me a choice. So I kind of feel kind of special because most people are like, the angel or the voice told me, or the relative in the near-death experience, you're not done and you have to go back. But they said, I'd already had 4 near-death experiences, so they were like, you get a pass, the road's going to fork, Kirk. We're going to do what you want to do. And I said, I don't think I'm done. And they're like, all right, we're going to heal you, and, it's all going to go away, and you'll get better. But it took a year after that near-death experience until, you have angels, when you, break the space-time continuum like that, and you're in that unconditional, infinite, divine intelligence and love, it takes you a while to compress back down to a material reality fully, and so you feel these divine energies on your back. They really are angels on your back. There was 2 of them, and oh boy, when they leave, you're really depressed. Try telling all of this shit to a therapist. You know what I mean? I have a great Fifth Avenue therapist right now. He's a $200 therapist. And, you know, he knows about all this stuff. And he's not really in awe, but he's not really like, hey, you should be medicated and we got to get rid of this as soon as possible. You're hallucinating. And, you know, I really searched a long time for a therapist that would understand the levels of reality that a spiritually gifted person has to deal with, you know, and the stress of it. And I found somebody, and I'm really thankful for that. Because you need a neutral party, and you need a wise person to bounce stuff off of. In any event, Psychic Weather Report. This post is on Facebook in written form. Psychic Weather Report. In 1984, when I got sober, I immediately began seeing auras and psychic spiritual energy. Coming out of the closet, so to speak, about the psychic spiritual gifts was a 20-year process. Interestingly enough, most of my life and my mantra on the back of my mind was, I just want to be normal. Why can't I just be normal? And I did. I wanted to be normal. I thought I was going to be a lawyer or something, or a businessman. Boy, to God, I have other plans. But people like me are not normal. No one asks for psychic and spiritual gifts. Nobody in their right mind would want to walk down the street and hear the thoughts of 50 or 100 strangers. Or likewise, be privy to the pains and fears and dramas in another person's energy field. Could you sincerely tell me that it would be fine or fun to have a past deceased relative attach itself to you and your energy and aura and mind and beg and implore you to give a message to a stranger that is walking by? This is true. It actually has happened a few times. Doesn't happen all the time, but it did happen one time, and I gave the guy the message, hey, this is going to sound strange. Your grandma's screaming in my ear right now, and you're totally fucking up, bro. And she wants you to know. And I started telling the rest of the message. The blood just drained out of this guy's face. And I said, you know, I just gave the message and I walked away. Can you sincerely say that it would be easy for you to negotiate maintaining a reality where you are in several dimensions and holding a consciousness of several realities at one time? In this post, I would not be able to list all the situations where and when people find out that you have spiritual gifts, how vehemently they will defend a reality that holds no place at all for connection to other spiritual dimensions with psychic gifts. We are called delusional, crazy, insane, kooks, weird, and evil. How about the usually present catchphrase, do you have to be so sensitive? At one point, I left a therapist that basically told me that he was demanding that I be medicated. True. And I said no, and I left that therapist. My aura was Shakti-putted by the famed Guru Mai by pure accident? ? This is true. I was a butler to a very high-class 5-star hotel, and one day I walked into her room. She gave me her blessings with a chocolate bar. Chocolate is usually given by the guru as a blessing. But I was not healed, and I did not see lights and angels. When your kundalini opens up and you're unaware of it, and it was unknown to me at the time, it sent me into a clearing that basically was debilitating and lasted 6 years, actually, which is true. There was another time 10 years before the internet where I somehow opened up a portal either in my mind or body and walked into another dimension and tapped into pure nirvana and could not shut it off. That is also true. I didn't leave the house and I didn't eat for like, I don't know, a week. I could not sleep. And you might think, wow, that sounds amazing. And it was. I wish I could have it back. But what happened was I can only imagine, I can only describe it as having a 10-day orgasm. And, you know, to me, orgasm after like 20 seconds becomes that kind of ecstasy is painful. So imagine that going on for 10 days, and I was in my early 30s. Nobody taught, like, okay, something happened. And eventually I ended up taking a razor blade and cutting my face. And I didn't know why I did it, but I did it. And I did not feel any pain at all. And in that state, I felt nothing. Pain did not exist. Now, I would later find out, like, you know how the spiritual masters walk on coals? Well, they get themselves into this ecstatic state, and the reason they walk on the coals is because they're in a painless, literally another dimension where they have accessed a painless state, where they cannot be harmed. And this is a true master, knows how to do this, and a lot of times they will cut themselves. This is actually true, but I didn't know it at the time, but I would find it out later. I would later find out that the great spiritual masters will work themselves into an ecstatic state and cut themselves just as I did. Once again, things like this do not come with instruction booklets. Oftentimes you have no clue what is happening or how the clearings come. Oftentimes they are not bound to a linear time frame. True. Such is the case in a Kundalini awakening, and oftentimes it's confused and mistaken for mental illness. But I digress. We won't go into that side topic. I could go on and on. Try to get a boyfriend while all this is going on. Try to maintain your home. Try to go and buy groceries. Try and, wash your clothes. And, like, you can't get back down. I didn't have the baseline or the knowledge or the information to be able to go into the dimension and then come back. Go into the dimension and then shut it off and be like dishes, bathroom, clean. And I still have a hard time with the material world. I still really do. I had 3 breakdowns. I think it's 3. 3 breakdowns. 2 where I was in bed with physical breakdowns. And then I had 3 mental, emotional, spiritual breakdowns. I think 6 breakdowns. Now, it's just a breakthrough, and you can go and you can get support, and it doesn't have to be that dramatic. But once again, being the first wave, and I was also painting at that time. I'm a fine painter and a photographer. So, I painted it out. I wrote poetry, like I said, and all over my walls, and I was doing weird photography and, this, like, infinite, unlimited creative state. So it was like a creative, spiritual, psychic mania. But now I've learned how to be grounded with it. Turn it on, allow it, help my clients, turn it off, go walk down the street, walk the dog, and, kind of exist in the material world alone for a while. But that really took a lot of time. And it didn't really start to be understandable until I was meditating on a daily basis, which was the stabilizing factor over 10 years. It didn't really calm down until I was meditating not by choice, but by demand that, this is probably going to ground me. There's 2 types of meditation. There's one that makes you all spaced out And that's not the kind of meditation I do. I do the meditation to get into my body, not out of it. In any event, it's been hard for me to believe that I have been in the house. Oh, this is 3 major times. It's actually 6 major times. Simply trying to maintain a balance through all of this. But I got to tell you, the mind blower was when I began retrieving my clients' souls as a shaman and shamanic healer from other dimensions, or knowing how to collect parts of their psyches for them and putting them back together, which I do know how to do. I also went to codependency rehab in 1987, and that's like a whole other side topic, which I need to make a video about, but I wouldn't have been able to get to the place I am now if I didn't go to the codependency rehab first in 87. And I got sober in 84, so about 3 years into my sobriety, I just was like, being sober alone ain't cutting it. I need some other intensive help. And I found this place. I went to the Karen Foundation, and I highly recommend it. In any event, knowing how to collect parts of their psyches for them, my clients, and putting them back together. I still don't believe it myself. As I tell my clients, these miracles of healing come through me, not out of me. The real chore was to simply get clear and then get out of the way as a healer, as a miracle maker. I didn't choose this, it chose me, but perhaps I signed up for it before I incarnated. Yes, probably. I got to tell you, in the last 3 to 4 weeks, and I feel very strongly in the next 6 weeks as well during the eclipse, we are in one of the greatest energetic shifts I have ever felt and experienced or seen in the collective soul on this planet. And basically being an empath and privy to the collective consciousness, and I am not alone, this time is the most unbelievable clearing I have ever felt. True. It's like 5D, Technicolor, interdimensional, nonlinear clearing. I don't care how other people look at me anymore, or judge me. It just, I look at other people and I kind of am like, I'm not going to say you're spiritually dead, but it's hard for me to believe that you can't see all the things that I can see. It's not so much that you have to find the truth. What you really have to do is just allow the veil to drop. And then everything is in this otherworldly Technicolor with all of your 7 senses lit up. But it takes an acclimation. The thing that's happening right now with the timeline jump and the vanishing points that have been going on with the full moon eclipse, lunar eclipse, Lion's Gate, full solar eclipse, and something else on September 23rd, which I don't know about, but everybody's talking about it. So that's your spiritual weather report and update. My name's Kirk. You can find me at YouTube. Please subscribe for more videos. I have 500 hours of spiritual topics videos. A lot of them, probably 50% of them, I gotta admit, they're horrible and practically unwatchable. But the thing was, when I first started talking and the technology was available to do this and then, throw it right to YouTube, that took 10 years. And so the videos in the beginning of me talking and learning how to talk about what I do and what I am, they're kind of sad and like, I just don't know what I'm doing, and it's okay. And I finally am starting to collect my own disparate parts. I do see other healers, and I do go to other mediums, and I also trade services if anybody wants to do that. I'm in deep need of Reiki healing right now, so if anybody's watching this, please send me Reiki gentle healing, Shakti. I'm sending you the Shakti. I'm sending you the love. My name's Kirk. You type in Kirk Spiritual Shaman New York City over at Google, and you can find me. I am on every major social media, marketing, whatever, Facebook, Pinterest, Tumblr, YouTube, Vimeo, Dailymotion, and Tumblr. All as Kirk is the Shaman, Spiritual Healing Arts. You'll find me. If you want to write me a letter, kirktv@gmail.com. Please subscribe to the channel. Please share it. Please pass it on. And the people that watch my videos, most of them say, hey, it's spot on. Thank you. So leave a comment either way. I wish you all blessings in every reality. And thanks for watching. I'll see you in the Cyber Temple and Portal of Love in the past, present, and future. And sending you the Shakti to open you up. Shakti, Shakti, Namaste. Thanks for watching, guys.